I have great pleasure in welcoming you all to this annual conference of our deliberations. It is for the first time in the history of our conference that we have chosen for our annual meeting a place in northeastern area of the country. It is but appropriate that the conference is being held in Shillong, now the capital of Meghalaya, but this place had served as capital for Assam before it was divided into several states and two union territories. The conference in this city was originally scheduled to be held in November, but it was postponed due to other pressures of work then. The holding of the conference here has been made possible by the generosity of Chief Minister of the state of Meghalaya, who graciously and unhesitatingly extended the invitation to me to hold the conference in Shillong and chose for that purpose a convenient and a pleasant time of the year. He has taken great pains and attended to the minute details of the arrangements to make this conference a memorable event. On my behalf and on behalf of all of you, I express our gratitude to Captain Raju, his cabinet colleagues, chief electoral officers and staff of the state government for their thoughtful and meticulous planning and execution of the arrangements for the success of the conference and our comfortable stay. I further thank him for sparing some time to be with us today and give his valuable suggestions in election matters. Turning to the matters of our concern at these conferences, I have always felt that exchange of views and discussions on matters like election law and procedure are necessary to enrich our knowledge and enable us to identify problems that confront the electoral machinery in the field. Such mutual discussions also help us to arrive at effective solutions. The annual conferences further make it possible for us to find the directions in which further improvements of our election system can be thought of. We are meeting today soon after eventful general elections to the legislative assemblies of 4 states. The experience of the electoral machinery at these elections can also be taken note of usefully during our discussions. Till now, the electoral machinery functioning at various levels in different states has not conformed to a uniform pattern. On the one hand, there has been a haphazard growth in organizational structure in some states without any specific planning behind it. On the other hand, some other states are suffering from understaffing, poor accommodation and other constraints. These important aspects connected with the proper and efficient setup of electoral machinery have not received due attention so far. You may recall we discussed in a general way these matters last year. And as I had indicated then, I constituted a committee under the chairmanship of Mr. Anand, Chief Electoral Officer, Karnataka, to go into the working of the existing electoral machinery in the country and to suggest a model pattern for which there had been a long felt need. The committee has done commendable work and it deserves our thanks. It has gone into the basic issues in depth and given its recommendations, which we shall take up later here for detailed discussions. The committee has made specific recommendations on various important issues like the setup of electoral machinery at various levels, the type and quantity of personnel needed for revision of electoral rolls and conduct of elections, uniform norms for payment of remuneration to election personnel and the storage facility for election materials and stationery. I am sure that the decisions we arrive at on the basis of these recommendations would serve adequately the cause of streamlining the setup of electoral machinery and place it on a sound and efficient footing. I also hope that such a reorganization may lead to the growth of dedicated and competent staff with total involvement to the task. While the Commission has been receiving by and large active cooperation from the state governments in election matters, there have been some areas in which proper scope of powers and functions of the Commission have not yet been appreciated fully, and the Commission has had to face a delicate and difficult situation of the independent functioning of the chief electoral officers in states. It is important in the interest of proper and smooth functioning of democracy that the electoral machinery at all levels should be allowed to function independently, subject only to the superintendence direction and control of the Commission. It is admitted on all hands that the future prosperity of India solely depends upon rapid industrialization of the country. Of course, we have already launched various schemes towards that end, wiping out all traces of poverty, squalor and want. But these cannot be achieved by the waving of a mere magic wand. We have to infuse new ideas, technical innovations have to be adopted wherever it is possible and necessary. Our economic and social structure, however, need not be through the same travail as many other countries which are now accepted as industrialized and have reached a certain level of economic prosperity. We can advantageously take a leaf from the experience of other countries. Many of the dull and dreary processes which they have to undergo could be conveniently bypassed, and the modern technological and scientific developments have brought such remarkable improvements on the many spheres which could be useful to achieve rapid progress. We cannot afford to follow the outmoded practices and will have to take all necessary steps to catch up with other progressive and developing nations without any fear, favor or loss of time. The present economic systems is no doubt to be transformed to suit the aspirations of the people. But till we attain finally our national objective of the socialistic pattern of society, about this there should be no question. We have to accept mixed economy as necessary and private sector as useful in meeting squarely the basic necessities of the people and providing them with the fundamental rights guaranteed in our republican constitution. I have deliberately spent more time in talking about the issues which are confronting us today. I am happy to be in your midst and I would like to convey to you my felicitations on your annual conference. Thank you.